Hey everyone, D-Dub Squizzy here, and welcome back to Pillars of Eternity. I did a couple last-minute enchantments on some of our equipment. I made Durance's stuff legendary. I used the last of the Bog Dragon scales. Do I still have those Audra Dragon scales? I do. I never did end up using those things, because I don't think... That's legendary. They're all legendary now. And his was already superb, as was his. Now his is legendary too. I never did end up using it. Oh well, that's fine. Alright, so I still don't know the importance of these things. We're just gonna run around, grab them all, and then I guess jump on into the pit. Okay, here we go. Great pit lies in the shadow of the statue of Wodica. No light from the surface reaches the bottom, even so you catch flickers of a ghostly glow in the depths. You look into the pit, souls gather around you, encasing a cloud of essence. Jump in. You jump, trusting in the promises of the gods and the power of the souls. A sudden drop takes your breath away, but the souls catching you, encasing you in a shining ethereal aura. While they slow your descent, you can still feel that you're falling faster than you should. The essence flowing around you, strong but chaotic, find yourself just drifting towards the wall. Nearby, Kana drives downward at a rapid pace, carried by another glowing stream of souls. Why did I ever agree to this? Kana flails outward briefly, then steadies, holding his arms out for balance. It's hard to keep. Look out the wall. Take control of the souls to guide yourself to safety. Yeah, let's do that. Concentrating, you focus on the essence around you, knit it together in your mind. Was a jumble of souls becomes a single entity, stirs me away. Master, spread your arms and legs into an X, steadying your position in the rate of your descent. Feel more comfortable too. Notice Kana still falling too fast. He plummets, flailing out of control. You could attempt to rescue, but the ground's approaching fast. Take a feat of speed and agility to avoid injury. Ground is rising fast. You're not quite fast enough. You snatch Kana out of free fall. You're unable to regain control over your own momentum. Take the brunt of the impact, landing hard against the millennia-old stones. So I was right, it does let me increase the level of the enemies around here. And I just got the achievement for completing Act 3.
After what seems like an eternity, your rapid descent comes to an abrupt end. You remain still for a moment while your heart settles and your eyes adjust, breathing in stale, forgotten air. Before you, a narrow and eroded walkway becomes faintly visible in the dim light, cutting a winding path through a cavern so expansive it seems a world unto itself. In the distance, you can make out the cold gleam of living Audra veins that spike and fork in and out of view from the murky depths beneath. Their glow a faint and fleeting guide along the ancient trail. You look above at the opening you jumped through, now barely a speck of light like some distant star alone in the cosmos and forever out of reach. Your only way lies ahead.
Alright.
That went better than I expected.
Everyone all right? No shattered knees? Good. Just me, then.
That was bracing.
Alright. Right. The path before me leads to the Angleton's eternal prison. Where am I? If I look
I
on the
see something.
map. I'm not on the map anymore. Alright, we got some camping supplies. I'll actually have to
Interesting.
keep an eye on that. What the?
Nice and slow.
Okay.
As requested.
Soul
I see
Audra
something.
prison.
Something. Brave thou not believe.
Right, you don't need to be chanting that anymore.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye out.
Okay. Disable that.
As requested. Aliens. Aliens made.
Let's go. Let's go.
I have.
Sure. Sure.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is.
Ah, an animat. We kill that, please.
It has a calm sea, which. Ha!
There it goes. Surprisingly difficult for him to actually do that.
Quietly now.
What's this?
I wonder if I'm actually that close to the end of the game. I mean, I know I've completed Act 3. I'm in the end game, but I don't know how big this place is. If it's just like one or two areas of a ruin.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm here. Huh?
Nice and quiet.
These Angwithins and their traps. What was with their paranoia? Soul Guardian pillars. I don't know. Clearly this whole place is connected.
Certainly. This thing isn't doing the job.
Oh boy. Oh, no, keep fighting. I don't know, these things just aren't that threatening. I do kind of wish that they would stop moving.
Rith Uligna! That's not very...
He still has not one shot at it. He's been, like, fighting that one animat the whole time. And not once did he get his insta-kill.
Yeah.
That's so annoying.
Let's see what lies this way.
Oh, cool. Little healing zone.
I can do that. As requested.
Let's head down this way. If there's one room up top that's got all of the doors around it, I'm assuming that's where Thaos is, or at least it leads me to where Thaos is. Which would mean all these side routes are optional, and possibly filled with things I would want to clear out now before they become an issue later.
Lava will be on siege.
Oh, why are you in there? Fine, you're in here now. So are you? Are they yanking people? Or are they throwing people? What's going on? Why are people moving? Well, when petrified, he guarantee hits every
Following your
swing,
lead.
which pretty much means instant
Yeah.
death on them. So that's cool, at least.
Keeping an eye out.
What's this?
Alright. On a unique morning star. That's not restoring health, is it? It is. Whoa, these are health restorers. Not just endurance. Cool. Big old stairwell over there.
I'll see what I can find. Nothing I can do. It's not very helpful. Hey. I'm here.
Following your lead.
Yeah.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea. Which is not very quiet.
Alright. Let's see what's past the door. Soul Audra
Keep
Prison.
it quiet.
Another one. Oh. Column of Hydra rises above you, stoic and silent. Its rigid layers a measuring stick for the passing of ages. Feel to you as thick as a block of ice. Or it feels to you as a thick block of ice, and you perceive buried deep in its core a dim flickering flame. Flame seems to steady and draw strength. Layers separating it from you melt away. You're bathed in its glow. Glow seems to fade as though you had adjusted to its intensity. Where it was, you oversteps into existence. Though ageless, she appears somehow different to you now. A slight stoop to her carriage drops a trace of sunkenness in her eyes, a broad scar across her face.
You've come back. I had thought to have set you on the right path.
Nearly failed
You're
a
so
second time.
different now from who you were then. Yet much remains the same. Old troubles with a new face. What is it that has brought you here?
I've unfinished
I'd
business
hoped
here.
after our last discussion you would find I can only guess your presence here has something to do with Thaos. The energy of this place changes.
Diverted them from the
when
cycle, seeks to empower Woedica.
After all this time, he would still stand against the tide. I will tell you what I remember.
So throughout my lifetime, I still can't let go of. I need to know what it is, and I'm running out of time.
I can see his influence, still hanging like a... It was just after the trial. You were agitated.
Brow furrows, look of pity, eyes shift back and forth between each of yours.
That the gods aren't real.
I'd dreaded the idea from the moment the Delimgon suggested it. And yet, it almost feels like a relief. She's not serious.
Perhaps not to her. Many are those whom the gods have scorned. There's a theory puts my boldest to shame.
What I taught was that the gods whose faith we had been spreading were not gods at all, but something else entirely. Something created by people. The Anguithan missionaries all knew it, but they never told the
Meant to be a
rest of us.
secret.
They meant it
I've
to
been
be a
assigned to join
secret
a few of them in a
that
temple,
died
found the
with
door to their chambers closed,
And
room
in
with
the
stone
end,
door thin, their
they
voices
allowed
carried.
their blood.
That's why you
I
started
never
your own
thought of it
faith?
as faith. But I think I became a missionary because the gods brought me hope. They were conceived by Enguith, a society of high minds and broad concerns. Thaos' people. In their time, generation after generation, they prodded and worked the stitching of the world. It shook them, this finding. If they could discover this on their own, how long until others would? You asked me this once before. Nothing I can say would be any... Everyone faces this truth at one time or another. Few. What if all the tragedy, all the persecution, came in defense of an imposter?
Said that to eat her.
That's not... That can't be right. If
The power of the gods is undeniable. What if it were forbidden knowledge rather than fault that earned your doom? What of your guilt?
I have seen with my own eyes the deceptions of my goddess. The Watcher has shown me as much.
You speak of her deceptions, but what of your own? Was it her words that led you down your path? Or was it, what if you had always been alone, with...
well, as poorly as I've chosen my guides,
The freedom has always been. If all our common threads are spun from a lie,
All of us across Aora are trying to survive. We'll find our own truths. Make them if we must. We don't need an ancient lie to bolster.
Feel the weight of yours translucent eyes upon your soul. Only we can cease to exist as means in peace be found. What if we can be assured of nothing? All we can do is endure.
the wheel would seem to grant us little choice in the matter. I ask these things not to trouble you, but to show why they must be confronted. No answer is simple, but somewhere I often wonder that myself. I've been alone here with my thoughts for so long now. I've found peace. I need to know why you chose to remain with the Inquisition, even after you'd learned the truth. Do you remember?
Oh, the memory springs in as though it had just happened. Don't think I had a
All
reason.
these years thinking about it. Good. The things I taught. We knew little of each other before you arrived at my camp. You had heard both sides, seen everything. I'm aware of the folly of trying, even knowing what you've told me. And what of your understanding of our past? Are you at ease with the choice you made?
Wasn't me who made the choice, bear
At
no
first
responsibility.
I thought this might be the source of your soul's anguish. But now I see I was mistaken. You are not divided on this matter. Yet if there is anything I can tell you that would be of use, he cares only for the secret he keeps locked away. That's why he's always favored Woedica. It isn't in her love of promises or if Thaos succeeds, there will be a shift in the balance of power among the gods.
Only tell you what I've seen. Only one man can tell you now. I don't think her theory about the gods not existing, or at least not being gods, is correct. They clearly predate the humans on this world. They did stuff beforehand, and what they do has shaped entire cultures and stuff. I mean, maybe they didn't predate the Angwithans. I don't know exactly how ancient the Angwithans were, but they certainly predated all of modern worlds here. You're bound here until the end of time.
Speaking. This is Breath
Souls are
Yama,
confined till they repent.
the court of the penitents. Souls are confined here until they repent. This prison was full once in the days of the Inquisition. But time weathers all things, even will. I'm the only tenant who remains. They aid you because they would bend you to their own. But these souls, these for...
Speak no language now, but the wordless expression of the spirit. Ah. You know what it is I need from
I could not
Thaos?
say for sure. His words mattered to you when you knew him then. Thaos will not wait for you. If you do not catch up to him now, you may never find him again.
Only strike the blow
If I
against him.
repent, all I
Alright.
have, your soul deserves an end to its suffering. If ever we should meet again, in this...
Yeah.
Nice and quiet.
That would also leave the question of who created things, because I'm just gonna say it. Things don't happen randomly. Nothing.
So, it's true. The gods are a sham that people have followed for thousands of years.
It's not that simple. Because, you know, we communed with them.
Doesn't that just beat all? Wonder how things would have gone different 15 years ago if the Raid Sarens had been told their god was made in some forge or kiln someplace. Would we still have gone to war? I could see the rebellion still happening. When Woden left for war, we, had a fight. About him going off to war. He was set on it. Me? I didn't know who was right. I said every vicious thing I could think of, trying to change his mind. He brushed it off. Just got me madder, of course, him being so calm. He said I should come with him. By the time I had cooled off, months had passed. One morning it dawns on me that my brother always knew better than me. If he was so sure of what he was doing, then I should be there with him. Crossed my mind. I hope that wasn't it. I hope he went there because it's still one more mess we gotta straighten out.
And
We've
how
been
off?
lied to. Our whole lives, and many lives before that. And it's led us to put our faith in a pantheon of gods that never deserved it in the first place.
Those people are not fundamentally decent. That's the whole point that we have learned over the course of this game. The people are vicious and evil. That's why the gods are. Thaos is correct. However, just because people are fundamentally evil, as in that's what they are, many of them still struggle to oppose that, which is an interesting dichotomy. There are simple rules that you just have to hold to when it comes to morals. Things like you never do right by doing wrong, and you never do wrong by doing right. And murdering people is wrong, so Thaos is in the wrong here, no matter what anything else is. People are fools, can't be trusted without some kind of authority. No, that's not right. People will be what they are, whether or not they're gods to believe in. That's
I'm
correct.
surprised to hear you say this. It seems that much harm comes from imposing authority where perhaps none is...
For once, the half-souled elf is right.
I've also been thinking. There won't be much left of Thaos by the time you're done with him, if I know how you operate. That will leave the leaden key headless. Then let's face Thaos. When this...
Yeah.
Aloth will just make it his personal mission in life to hunt down and obliterate everything that's left of the leaden key and ensure it never formulates again. Yeah, I have to get a hold of Thaos' soul and tear it to pieces. I think that's the only way to ensure his death.
Sure.
Hello? Is everyone still there?
Laying low.
Ring of searing flames. Huh. Some kind of thick shadow over everything. Petrified or burned people. I think they've all been burned, so they're just kind of ash now. Walk of Souls. Whoa.
Full of surprises, aren't you?
Look at that. A city to put all others to shame. And long lost.
We light our own path now.
Okay, so these are areas you can't go.
I missed most of it.
That's weird. I'm not sure what that was about. I am worried that there are going to be traps around, though, so I'm not going to stop sneaking. Well, it's pretty cool looking, but why did that happen? Were those the souls from the burial isle? Why did they come down here with me? I'm assuming those were Hylia's, but I thought her support began and ended with the pit. Oh, I do not like that. Let's go to work. Man, when they try to disengage, things go so poorly for them.
Yes?
Margaren's fire casts light in dark places.
Oh, we got the
What's this?
bones of a drake, it looks like. Swift action. Those are extra attack speed, right? Yeah. Is this another one of those machines? No. That's just another soul light up, I guess. Whoa! Shadow Drake, that's no good.
How may I help?
Hey,
Yes?
I guess some of the
Following your
spirits aren't too happy with us being here.
Hello? Hello? Following your lead.
Oh, no, that was just his bow.
Yeah.
It looked weird the way he was holding it. Bracers of deflection. You know what? We haven't come across any traps. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's just keep moving. Rise of the ruins of an ancient city. Looks stable enough. Wide gap leaves little room for error. Jump to the freestanding. Spell ward, camping supplies, ring of overseeing. Okay. Got a twisted ankle and a sprained wrist. That's great.
Margaren's fire casts light in dark places.
Gonna get another little attack of souls. This is a big group of people, actually. We should have him now. Ooh, that's a much bigger Drake.
Let's go.
It just flies up and fades out of existence. There's a doorway here. I take it that's where Thaos is hiding.
Nice and quiet.
Which, of course, makes me wonder what else is out here.
I shall deal with this one.
This isn't working!
I'm here.
I don't know, I'm gonna clear these things out, though. That way, if anyone else ever makes their way down here, there's no more spirits to bug them. So many places across the aura are just filled with, like, angry, vengeful, dangerous spirits and monsters. And people just leave them there. They must just not think of the implications of leaving creatures like that alive around places. Is this his actual room? Or is this just another part of the city? Like, how much longer are we gonna have to fight through worthless shades and light up an ancient city? Sun in shadow. Oh no, this is it.
Ready to take the oath, to spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen.
Three rings of unshackling. Suppress affliction.
I am trusting you to remain loyal to the gods in this. Do not. You will have greater powers than me to answer to. But you... I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
It's time we do this. There he is. Come to a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with audra trimmed with copper. At the base of the pillar stands Thaos, looking concern on his face as he notes your approach. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all others spinning madly in your mind, but you don't dare ask it yet.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Was Yovar telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that
The
my
entire
people
Inquisition
sacrificed
based on a
everything
lie.
to. The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound. They are monuments to Woodica's greatest servants among my people. We are in a sanctum holy to Woodica. There are others like it has many.
Did you lie to me when you said the gods would absolve my sins? Are there no gods? What is a god?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. You will return home and you will rest. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment. How did you find it?
I didn't.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason.
There's a reason they got their hand in this.
Then she should have obeyed. I ask one thing of all my followers. She was incapable. A waste of rare talent and intellect.
Oh, she worked for him? I'm too great for the
What of your
servant.
cohorts, then? They have followed you to their deaths. Is it loyalty that you? You worshipped Aethys, did you not?
Your spies are good. What gave me away? The cape?
Yet when your god needed you the most, you chose your country.
We were being invaded. Not by anyone who was acting like a god.
Then I should think your hometown gave you a hero's welcome when...
They made cake. Hard to blame people for losing faith when it's...
The gods argue over how best to prevent Kith society from destroying itself. These disruptions. You have devoted yourself to studying the work of my people. Why?
I thought your people had much to teach us. That we too could create great machines, improve our ships, make an...
And did you ever consider that these were things you were never meant to understand?
Weren't an infallible race, you were never gods, all your petty experiments, heinous crimes, your glorious achievements, you were just people, your time came and went.
You are living in the time of my people, Amawa. You owe them more than you will ever comprehend. Greater civilizations than yours have attempted to reclaim what we buried. The greater their successes, the worse their fates in the end. You built a weapon that delivered exactly as promised.
I served my goddess as you did yours.
Yet the other builders were slain. 11 of a dozen.
Whatever desire I had to be redeemed in her eyes was weakness.
Or was it merely that your goddess wanted you dead as well, and your delusions of importance prevented you from seeing the obvious?
A whore's beguiling charms, nothing more. But the spell's broke now, Thaos. The trial's over. I know friend from foe. And I've come here now to see a foe repaid.
You were able to destroy a god because another god wished it, without her hand to guide you. State your name and purpose, young acolyte.
My name belonged to the gods and my hand to their service. No more.
You serve none but yourself. Without contact with your order, you can have no higher purpose.
And I should have done it years before. I'd rather live in uncertainty than servitude.
And that uncertainty would lead you where it leads everyone. To doubt, to emptiness, to the many cruel... You are here because you are lost. The gods cannot reach everyone, I'm afraid. May you fare better in your next lives. I gather you have had your soul awakened. Why else would you shadow my footsteps like some stray mongrel? You think I have something to offer you, but our business was concluded long ago.
Yeah, I don't really care what he has to say. We have nothing more to say to
Hear
each
me,
other.
Woodica. Your servant calls for aid. Roak 10!
What are you doing? Oh, that cannot be good. Okay, we have a simple directive. Kill him. These vessels? Okay. Knock that thing over. Yeah, conjure up the black bow. Fire this on it. Shoot it. I'll handle him for the time being. Ha! He could actually knock it over. I didn't think he could. What goes judge and headsman. Okay, and this thing is flanked right now. Steps to the wheel. Foe AoE, paralyzed and sickened. That's for like no time at all, but sure, do it. Oh, yeah. No, I'm down. That's bad. This thing almost dead. Sadly, we're not getting the instant death thingy from the vessels on it. Whatever.
This isn't what...
Eater can conjure up some stuff, and then, will it try to ignore that one? Alright, I'm up. No, let's kill this thing. Uh-oh. Can we not knock him down till these are taken out? Or does he... No, he just has 151 deflection. Kill this thing. Please kill it now. Why are they suddenly untouchable? We had like over 100 to hit this thing before, and now we just can't. Okay, what else can we do? got it. It's dead. Okay. Conjure up the weapons. I went down again. Dang it. Okay, drink that. Drink that. And you drink this one. And you too. And sure you go. Not that one. This one.
Following your
Okay, so I need to heal a bit. Oh yeah, we have Consulate.
Join arms.
Kill it now.
This isn't working.
Come on. It's so close to dying. Got it. Okay. Now, your turn. Okay, he has a not a great reflex save. So I can try to hit him with things that target his reflexes. That will never work. That one... No, that one would. Maybe. Let's just try to attack him for now. Kana's attacks are never going to make it. That might. Yeah, look at... He's untouchable. As far as, like, his actual deflection and whatnot go. What did he just do? Okay, that's nonsense. He should not have a confusion thing. He is a cleric. Confusion is a mage spell. I'm confused, too. It's annoying that everything says 0. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Yeah, that one won't work. That one might work a little bit, possibly. Let's do that one. Oh boy. Wait, no! He healed? Like, not just a little bit healed. All of it. All of his health is back. That's enraging. Okay. How many of us are left? He is still confused. Now he isn't. Okay. Group up. We don't have anything to get our guy back up off the ground. You tank him for a little while. Let's try that one, I guess. Yeah, here's the problem. I don't know what else I could do to make him vulnerable to be hit. Okay.
I thank thee.
No, not again.
Worse than war.
Ah. Use this. It's all we have left.
Back then.
His deflection is so ridiculous. There's nothing I can do. He's unharmable. Wait, his deflection is down to 109. So it's at least dropped a little. Still absurdly high, and his confusion lasts for just ages. Okay. And his will defense is insanely high, too. No, we need to charge him. Oh, that's exactly what I was trying to avoid. Lay down another one on him. Whoa.
This is important.
Deflection is gone. Oh, we got him. Oh, yeah, that was awful. Okay. Body of Thaos hollow, the dense wrinkle shape. Well, there's nothing left. We exploded him. Soul remains still for a moment, defenseless, its energy expended in defeat.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret.
That's the servant down, and the mistress still to go. A good start.
Some point, you have to look at the things your god is telling you to do.
He spent his lives, more than any of us will ever know. For what? Binding the world.
With a deep breath, you plunge into Thaos' soul, where in Brackenbury it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends. Now it is expansive and borderless, its walls crumbling into heaps like the ruins of Engwith as you pass through them. Travel for what seems like ages, rush into a known destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. You see it no more than a pinprick of light at the end of a long tunnel. You come out in the room you're standing in now, but it's new and pristine, filled with people, thousands of them all turned towards the great outer pillar. Thaos stands at the machine, you're one with him now. You look at the crowd, faces of shriveled old men and cherub-cheeked little girls, mothers bouncing infants. Woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back toward the machine, breath constricted, beneath the weight of unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes, open them again, and find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it, place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base, speak a single word, giant rings creak to life, building speed. So that'd be what kept him alive. The force of the accelerating machine, all sound drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arc outward from the pillar in all directions. You look over your shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one, the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies. Look above the outer pillar. A glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where the arcs converge. It grows in pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating, so bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems to you as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement, look up to see it melt into the pillar like a warm candle wax. Machine slows down to an abrupt halt. When the last echo of its grinding cogs is past, chamber is still, and you are alone. Sense a listlessness to Thaos' soul. An overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it. You're able to do with it as you please. You can just send him back? That's so worthless. Where is Briath Iman? Do not envy you of all people. I realize the sway memories can hold. It's time you were granted peace. I mean, sure.
Was there nothing there worth saving?
Reach out for a soul. You feel its frailty and defeat, its texture like a coarse and threadbare cloth on the brink of disintegration. You insinuate yourself between the threads, pushing the weaving apart, unraveling the stitching till it is bereft of structure. In the midst, you dedicate your focus to a single idea, and the idea is shatter. You concentrate. As you concentrate, you feel a force building within your soul, and outward pressure strains against containment, threatening to rupture your spirit. When you can contain it no more, you transfer it into Thaos' soul all at once and release it there, a detonation of will that expands in all directions, driving out the remnants of his essence, scattering it into nothingness. The word you spoke when you were one with Thaos in the ancient memory. You realize it is the word that activates the machine.
Sure.
Astounding. I always knew the Leaden Key stood for something big, but I didn't... But even if you send the souls somewhere specific now, who knows what the next turn of the wheel will make of them? We can't really control what happens to them. It's your decision, of course.
We've come to the end of it, my friend. It is...
Thaos, he had hold of your soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what... Not many can say that these days. You'll be feeling better soon, then. Good. That's real good. Got a lot of people out there thinking they've been abandoned by their gods. If it was in my power, and I know it's not, but if it was, I'd find a way to give... After what you've been through, though, I'm sure you...
So he wants me to give everyone...
Hey.
Give the survivors
Following
the
your
souls that were taken from the young. That way, that way they'd be stronger, I guess, to face the coming trials.
The end of the road greets us at last. Would that my own trial had produced such an outcome. I had figured myself for the field all this time. But you were the...
Yeah.
As you approach the machine, the path underfoot suddenly changes to a cobbled road. If you hadn't experienced visions like this already in Tier Everon, you'd be tempted to believe the machine had sucked you into it and deposited you in the middle of nowhere. The sun blazes overhead, and the rolling meadows and thick forests on either side of the road could be anywhere in the Deerwood. Standing next to you is a malnourished man clad in a threadbare loincloth and manacles, his entire body striped with lash marks, striped with lash marks, and there are scarred pits where his nose and ears should be. Notice someone wandered down the road with the figure's back is to you. The scarred slave has your
I
attention.
have observed you, Watcher. You came to this land merely because it was here for the taking. And why should you question what was given to you, or whom it was taken from? This is the natural order of kith, gods, and civilizations. You have labored at the pleasure of others. That shriveled hag in Hadrit House, those preening soldiers with more taste for silk than steel, the wretched tribesmen playing out their fantasies of grandeur. And then you cowered and knelt before the gods themselves, begging one paltry favor and receiving riddles and visions in response. And now the gods give you orders and commands, even while you set out to fix what they cannot. Yet what have they offered you?
The feeling this is his way of giving you new orders on behalf of his own master. Given the breadth of the iron manacle, it's amazing he can raise his bone-thin arm, but he does.
The exiled queen is not an ungrateful patron.
He works with Wodica? Get a better look at the lone figure, realize she's wearing robes, tattered and singed, but fine nonetheless. On her head is the silhouette of a broken crown.
Finish the work Thaos began. Strengthen Wodica with these souls and allow her to become the most powerful of all the gods. With you.
Loyal and weak, Thaos proved his inadequacy when he failed to anticipate you. Recipient of Wodica's blessing. She's already got places for mortals of particular merit. If you help her now, she'll become the most powerful of all the gods. You'll be the one who made her so. Only reward I wish is the joy of pulling bloody shards of her broken crown from my staff when I have finished with her trial. So says your companion, who's been abandoned by his own god. You really trust him to make alliances for you? Safely hidden from the violent overlords, who would cease to fear punishment in the next life, from the heavy-handed masters who would answer to no one. World needs some schemes. All schemers desire an ignorant multitude. What they fear most is that we should not know enough not to be content in our places. I won't
You
help
say that now, but when you're standing in front of...
Yeah, no, screw
Right.
her. Wodaka can bite me. Your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Thaos once stood. It should be a simple matter to influence that direction, though as big as the machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. Only one moment before the souls will be sent into the Audra vein. This will be your only chance at redirecting them. Return them to the bodies they were intended for. Close your eyes, expand your perception outward. The way I see it, there are only two moral options, and which one depends on your view of it. Either return them to the cycle, or put them back in their bodies. And I think those are the only two truly moral options that you could make. Otherwise, you're just robbing millions of lives from people. Your grasp on the souls is tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence. You feel them slipping away. A brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold them all at once. Their force is so great it feels as though they will tear you apart. In that moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in a new direction.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale, pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Thaos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Thaos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the souls diverted by Thaos were guided back to the vessels originally meant for them. For the first time, parents of hollow-born children woke to the cries of their infants, and looked into their eyes to see them staring back. People fell to their knees where they stood, thanking Helia or Mogren, or even Aethys for their forgiveness of whatever guilt they felt they bore. But for all the relief that had come to some parents, others only found new grief. For many thousands of Hollowborn had died during Wideone's legacy, many by their parents' own hands. For those children, there would be no home.
Hylia gave them the
Yet
kids
the last
back.
hollow birth was in the
Just
past
gave
now,
them twins to
and
replace
those
the
parents
ones that
willing
they
to
had
risk trying for a
lost
new
before.
child were frequently rewarded.
Good on
often with
Hylia.
twins. Many felt they saw Helia's hand in it, and the year would be remembered as the year of Helia's splendor. Lord Radric's zeal
She had
brought
a
him
plan
back to
from the
life
start.
once, but it would not do so again. Radric's destruction at your hands spelled the end of his suffocating rule over Gilded Vale and the surrounding area. In his absence, the village prospered, becoming a popular destination for new settlers anxious to leave Defiance Bay after the riots. Without a nearby ruler, it also grew more wild, with many settlers moving on as soon as they'd arrived, turned off by lawlessness that was excessive even by Deerwooden standards. Nevertheless, despite the challenges of living there, Gilded Vale had survived, and would continue to survive for the foreseeable future. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in the unraveling of the conspiracy surrounding Wideone's legacy, and were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. For the Knights, their resurgence marked a return to the tradition as well. Having seen firsthand the dangers presented by dabblers in animancy, the Order quickly abolished the practice internally, preferring the familiarity of their hammers and forges to the uncertainties of Essence and Adra. Their identity rediscovered, the knights suppressed their political aspirations and began once again to train their recruits in the art of blacksmithing, recapturing the post-revolutionary ideals of Deerwood and regaining the respect of its citizens as a result. Though the machine atop Ter Noaneth had been disabled, it had not seen its last use. Heritage Hill was rebuilt, and no sooner had the first families moved in to resettle the district than members of the Leaden Key, acting under standing orders from their Grand Master, climbed the tower and reactivated the machine. The initiates slew a handful of the new settlers under cover of night and watched as history repeated itself, the victims reanimating and devouring the survivors.
I could have destroyed that thing, couldn't I?
After
But it
this
would have been
second
disastrous
incident,
for the souls
the
that were there.
district would remain abandoned. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an Animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay, and few Animancers survived the first day. Many Deerwoodans took the end of Widewind's legacy as a sign, both that the gods did not approve of animancy, and that the purging of Animancers in Defiance Bay had been enough to satisfy them. In time, their rage would subside, and a number of surviving Animancers remained in and around Defiance Bay, often taking to the wilds to practice their science without repercussions. The town of Deerford had seen the last of the cult of Scan. Dark rumors about the town's many curses quickly faded, and travelers soon returned.
Yeah, that wasn't even a problem I knew was there.
Abidon's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Deerwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Abidon's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins. Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Air Glanfath rose. As for Stalwart, the Battle of Caron's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan steel and build new marvels with the White Forge.
Sure, I don't see a
However,
problem with that.
Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Serens, as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border and vowed to finish the work of the Iron Flail. It would be many generations before the region saw peace.
Why I fixed their cannons
The
up.
Flames That Whisper clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless. The clan moved back into the Russet Wood, and as
That's
Stalwart
awesome.
grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors. Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcome in the Russet Wood. Harmka's death had brought the Devil of Carrick little satisfaction. In time, her taste for vengeance soured. What replaced it was a hunger to feel something, anything, new. Summer had thinned the snowpack twice over when she felt the joint at her elbow first begin to stiffen. She turned her back on the hopes of animancy and civilization and walked east. She pushed through the mountains, past Raid Ceres, and into the broad plains of Ishamiddle. She had forgotten what it was like to simply journey, no goal or destination in mind. Though she felt nothing more than the steady thump of her feet on the road, the endless horizons and grassy meadows were new to her. She measured her time in the gradual rusting of her body and was satisfied. Her movements slowed, but so did the world around her. Waist-high grasses undulated and tacked in the wind, as gradual as the tides. Sparrows and blackjays made steady pilgrimages across the sky, each flap of their wings a solemn salute. She could hardly move when she found something she had never seen before, the ocean. With the last of her strength, she pulled herself beneath the water, content at
Waves.
last to feel the movement of currents and the constant caress of the waves. Zawa came to peace with the end of the Takan people and decided instead to start anew. He traveled to Defiance Bay, where he took up residence with the Scriveners of the Hand Occult for a time. He spent his time there writing down everything he could remember of the Takan and their way of life. When he was finished, the voluminous set of tomes was given to the Hall of Revealed Mysteries, so that the Takan legacy might live on. Free from the burden of her memory, Maneha soon left the gift-bearers and resumed adventuring. Now that she had a taste for the world, she wanted to experience it anew. Maneha rediscovered her zest for battle, extravagance, and romance. She kept her gaze on the horizon, looking from one journey to another more distant, from the lover in her arms to another more fervent. Hers was a life of excitement, violence, and passion. She moved too quickly for regret to catch up with her, and she hoped only that she might outpace it in the next life as well.
Kinda pointless,
The
but
fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. After the death of the master below, a strange quiet fell over the endless paths of Ardnua. The attacks on the fortress above ceased, Ardnua's silent titan the closest remaining thing to a master in its musty, forgotten passages. Pallegina had gone against the Duke's Bell's orders by inventing a new trade arrangement with the Anamenfath to accommodate the recovering Deerwooden market. With the Deerwood's people still weakened by Weidman's legacy, the Valian republics easily pushed their would-be competitors out of the market. For her outrageous insubordination and audacity, Pallegina was banished from the republics. She traveled north in the Eastern Reach, avoiding Valian ports and entering the ranks of the kind wayfarers. Despite her bravery and dedication to those in her care, her strange appearance made her feel like
well,
an
I expected her
outsider
to get
wherever she
outcast,
went.
but she's a paladin. She shouldn't have been with
Haravius
those
took his
scumbags
leave
from
of
the
the
start.
party and, after his first bath in years, returned to his nomadic lifestyle. With his homesickness expunged, he found renewed joy and tranquility in his wandering survey of the wilderness. For the first time in his life, he ventured beyond sight of the mountains of Glonfath. During his travels, he penned numerous journals and sketches detailing his travels through frozen tundra, searing desert, and tropical forests. Wherever he went, Haravius left behind stories of the Autumn Druid, a temperamental, one-eyed wise man of the forest, known to bring food to lost travelers, and unusual advice to anyone willing to ask him a question. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Still most comfortable far from cities, he settled in Deerford, which, like many towns in the Deerwood, was beginning the slow process of rebuilding. Believing now that it was the obligation of Kith to be the leaders their gods had not, Adair was soon named mayor of the town, and under his guidance, Deerford soon began to prosper. He expelled the last of the Scanites from the area, and drew new settlers with the offer of land, a trick he had learned from someone he otherwise preferred to forget. With each passing day,
At least
Deerford
Raedric's
would come to
existence
more
was good for
closely resemble
something.
the gilded vale of Adair's childhood, the one worthy of its name. When the dust settled in sun and shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Thaos Arkannon, his former master. He saw where the Grand Master had gone wrong, and what would be required to undo the harm Thaos had wrought. With a flick of his wrist, he burned Thaos's robe, headdress, and every other symbol of the man's power. Never again, he vowed, should Kith live in fear and blind obedience to an authority they did not understand. Armed with the knowledge and courage he had gained on his journeys with the Watcher, he set out on the long and lonely task of dismantling the Leaden Key.
Good for him.
With both their aims fulfilled, Kanarua bid the Watcher farewell and sailed back to his beloved Rawatai. There, he reported on his findings to the Lore College. Kana spoke of the Engwithan people, describing both their vile experiments and their inspiring accomplishments. He spoke too of the destruction of the tablet by the Leaden Key, and the group's efforts to erase the Engwithan legacy from the world. Both inspiration and cautionary tales, he said, could be found in the world beyond Rawatai's borders. Kana urged his people to continue to pursue knowledge abroad, so that the lessons found there might benefit Tekoa. Kana's inability to prove his theory of Engwithan influence diminished his academic standing, but his passion drew much interest from those less concerned with degrees. Kana swiftly became an influential figure in the move toward a more collaborative approach to expansion on the northern continent. In his personal life, he came to enjoy the reputation of an affable eccentric, willing to share grand and impossible secrets, along with a drink and a song.
He's kind of seen it
With
all at
Thaos
this point.
defeated and the souls released from Sun and Shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past. Durrance used Magrin's strength only until Thaos had been cast from the world, and then swore off her influence entirely. Regret came to weigh heavily on his mind, and a man who had never previously lacked for words or opinions came to embrace silence and contemplation. He continued to wander, penniless and destitute, searching now not for the reason for his goddess's silence, but for a mechanism for revenge. The charred robes he continued to wear as a reminder that he had been burned by his goddess, and not just by the flames of the Godhammer. Sagani experienced the 4 months of her journey back to Masuk in vivid colors. She strove to memorize every moment of her final trip through the Deerwood, Erglonfoth, the Valian Republics, and beyond, preparing to tell her village of what she had seen on her long journey. All of Masuk shared in her triumph, and she felt her pride and elation magnified by the joy of her village. Never again did she doubt the value of her sacrifices. After decades as a long hunter, Sagani finally became one of Masuk's most respected elders. She guided her community with wise counsel, and a generation after she finally passed, another huntress journeyed into the world to find her soul. For you, the death of Thaos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead.
Oh, that was Pillars of Eternity. Well done, Obsidian. That was great. So much content, too. I've sunk, what, 80 hours into this game now? Almost. I don't think 80 is quite as much, but I spent a lot of time. I mean, there was so much to do, so much real challenge and intrigue. They had a whole world that they had developed, and it seemed fresh and new. Just, I don't know, I'm blown away by how good this was. I wholeheartedly plan on playing the second one, Deadfire. I have a plan to do that. I'm not certain that I'll do... I've heard some bad things about one of the DLCs in it, but the base game itself I've heard is fantastic, just like this one was, and so I'll be looking into that most definitely. Man, we killed so many dragons too. I don't know. I think of just how much, like, we accomplished so much throughout this. The world wasn't perfect by the end, of course. The disasters that had occurred across it were things that would have long-standing consequences, negative consequences forever. It wasn't a thing you could perfectly fix, because that's just not how the world works. But I think we made the best of it, and I'm glad I trusted Hylia more than any of the others. She made good on what she wanted me to do. There was a reason she wanted those souls returned. It wasn't just because it was part of what she thought should happen. It's because she had a plan to give people back what was stolen from them by Woedica and her wretched followers. I could have sent Thaos back or done something else to him, but let's be real. No matter what you do, eventually he's going to get violent again, and he can't be stopped. We saw how strong he was in general, but more importantly than that, he can possess people, and you couldn't permanently kill him unless you were a Watcher. So he had to be torn to shreds, which I have no problem doing. I didn't think that last fight with him was very good. His defenses and stuff seemed to be all over the place. He had like a limited number of just one-shot spells. If he was a little less difficult to hit, I would have had more fun with it. The fact that he was basically untouchable right up until he wasn't for some reason kind of bugged me. But whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. I don't know, I'm very impressed. That was a great game. I love seeing all of the... For Jean, always. For my parents. For Phil, without whose expertise I would be lost. Play an adventure in Pitfall. I want to say thank you to all of those backers who made this game possible, because I'm glad that we got it. And apparently, Obsidian is also working on a new, like, first-person RPG. They're making their own Skyrim. In the same universe, I think, which is pretty cool. I don't know, I mean, I'm definitely going to be playing it more in my own time, eventually. At the moment, I'm kind of burned out from it, because, you know, I've just played like 80 hours of it. It was over the course of like a month. Maybe a little more than that, actually. I didn't expect it to go that long. I thought it'd be maybe a 20, possibly 30 episode commitment, because it was an indie game. I didn't expect there to be just so much stuff in it. Right, and the White March, which was awesome. That last fight in Durgan's Battery was super rough, and I think they cheated, but it was whatever. We won in the end. And I will say they definitely made their dragons terrifying. Like, dragons in Baldur's Gate, once you really understand how they operate, aren't that scary. Same thing with the ones in Neverwinter Nights. They're easy to take advantage of and just put down. But these things, my goodness. Their tail smash, I think, is way overpowered. But that's just me. Or, probably not just me. Their breath attack's real strong, too. But I expect that from a breath attack. It's a, you know, big just pile of element getting spat on you. The tail smash shouldn't do more damage than their claw hit or wing smash, but the fact that it one-taps everyone with an insane range has kind of bugged me a little bit. I don't know, I feel like I have more to say, but nothing to say. It's just, it was a good game. Very high quality. I am very happy that I played it. It's definitely going into the logs of my mind as one of the better games that I've ever played. That is a lot of people whose name starts with A. Are these all the backers? Holy cow. Holy cow. Look how many people there are. That's why the game is so long. Oh my god, it keeps going. Alright, it's about to end. There we are. And more of them. Wow. Yeah, I really didn't expect so much good stuff when I picked this game up. But I hope that anyone who watched this enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed playing it. I had a lot of fun with that. Kind of feel bad for Durance at the end of his life. He seems to have nowhere to go, nothing really to do, but he was always a violent, angry, destructive kind of person. So him being on a quest for personal vengeance against a goddess, that's very him. I'm pretty sure he'll find a way to enjoy it. I also felt kind of bad for Kana and Eater. Neither of them ever got what they wanted out of their quests, but they seemed happy enough by the end, too. Eater turning villages around. I also feel bad for Kulsk. That bastard Raedric. At least he didn't come back again. Well, I guess I'm going to end this here then. No need to waste any more of anyone's times, and I don't think anyone wants to hear me jabber on anymore. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you wherever else I catch you. See ya.